What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Lion and I'm a dating coach for women. And in today's video, I want to address one of the most common questions that I get on this channel. Also, some of my more popular videos have been on this topic, but I've never done a full-length YouTube video to address this topic. So in today's video, I want to talk about breakups. I want to talk about the best, the smoothest way to be able to move on and to deal with a breakup in today's day and age in 2024. So I'm going to break this video in two sections. The first section is going to discuss things that you should avoid as much as possible and should never do after a breakup. And then I'm going to come back and give you also a few things that you should absolutely do after a breakup. Again, all with the thought of moving forward from the breakup as easily and as quickly, as smoothly as possible. So let's get right into it. All right, number one, and for some people, this might be the most difficult part of a breakup, and that is to go complete, absolute no contact. So what do I mean by no contact? I mean, you don't need to say the last word. You don't need closure. You don't need to ask them what's going on, why it happened. You don't need a reason, for the breakup. You don't need to have a last conversation. You don't even need to be the last person, to say something and get something off your chest. Now, a lot of people think that they absolutely need that. And a lot of people also feel like the other person owes them that. But that's not true at all. You don't need closure, right? The only closure that you need is for you to decide for yourself that you're moving forward. That's the only closure that you need. You do not need them to acknowledge anything, to explain anything, to tell you anything that you want to hear. None of that stuff, right? So you don't need closure. You don't need to you don't need to say the last word. You don't need to, tell them to go F themselves or anything like that either, right? And you definitely don't need to start discussing things like, oh, what's going to happen with that sweater that I left in my... Listen, as much as possible, right? You want to, as soon as the decision is final and you have the final conversation, or let's say that they stop answering the phone and, things have just been made clear based on solely their actions, that's when you decide to implement the no contact rule. The no contact rule, again, means that it's absolutely zero contact with that person. You don't need to text them on their birthday if that's coming up. You don't need to ask them, how their mom is doing, if she was, if she got a cold before you guys broke up or anything like that. You don't need to find any sort of, so many people use these different excuses to create contact in the hopes that will potentially allow them to refuel or rekindle their relationship, or at least open up the conversation again. You absolutely want to, as much as possible, avoid that altogether if you can, right? I know that there are certain exceptions to the rule. You might have kids together. You might have, you might need to, but as much as possible, you need to limit, or if you can, again, if you don't have kids together, eliminate, right, any sort of communication as soon as the breakup happens. So the whole idea behind it is not to punish them, right? So many people get that wrong. We're not trying to punish them. We're not trying to show them that we're okay without them. We're not trying to... The only reason that we're going no contact is to follow the whole concept of, out of mind, out of sight. The less communication we have with them, the less we're going to potentially think about them, and the less likely this whole process will take longer than it should. Do you know what I mean? We want to, as much as possible, right? We're going to have to go through our feelings. That's a given. But as much as possible, we want to keep it to as a short period of time as possible. And that communication, right, just makes it more difficult, and it just elongates and stretches the process. So we want to go complete and full no contact. And that applies to any sort of means of contacting them, right? It's texting, it's calling, it's seeing them in person, all of that. So no contact should be your number one. And I know for a lot of people, especially if you've been together for a long time, that's a difficult move. If your lives have been intertwined for, years at this point, it will be difficult, and that's completely okay. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be difficult. We're creatures of habit as human beings, right? And it's completely fine if we've been literally in contact with someone on a daily basis, if we've lived with that person, if we've been with that person for years and years, yes, it's going to be difficult. We got so used to the fact that we're all talking about with them. We talk about, we talk with them about any sort of subject, and there's someone that we can share our days with and all of these things. Yes, it will be difficult. So don't, get that twisted. It's supposed to be difficult, because going from, talking to that person every single day to stop talking to them altogether, cold turkey, and going completely zero, no contact, is supposed to be difficult, but it is an essential step if you want to Protect your heart, protect your mind, be able to move on with your life within the shortest amount of time possible. And number two kind of aligns with number one, but it goes to the next level, and that is don't stalk them. Don't stalk them on social media. So as soon as the breakup is official and as soon as you decide to go no contact, I would also highly recommend you to completely unfollow them on any sort of social media platform that you have been that you've been in contact with them in the past. So unfollow them if you need to. If they ever reach out to you or anything and you feel like you need to go and block them, you can do that as well. If you don't think that they're going to reach out to you, unfollowing them is more than enough. Again, the reason we're doing that is not because we're trying to punish them. We're not hoping that they will see that we block them, that we unfollowed them and feel some kind of way and try to come back to us or try to say they're sorry. That's not what we're doing. We're not hoping that this is going to happen. Once the breakup is over, it is over. There's a reason why you guys are not together anymore. And as difficult it is to admit to ourselves, we need to start moving on instead of holding on to the hope that eventually we'll get back together again, right? There's a reason why, again, there's a reason why you're not together. And the only thing that you should be prioritizing right now is moving on with your life. So unfollowing them from any social media platform will allow you to do that, again, a lot easier. Going forward with that as well is making sure that you don't stalk them in real life either, which means that beyond the fact that, you know, if you're creepy and you just go and look at them from the window of your car outside of their house or, you know what I mean, outside of their job, obviously don't do any of those things. But even going a step further, if you know that they're going to be at a certain place at a certain time. So if you know that, let's say, you know, they have a favorite coffee shop, don't go to that place. Go to another place. Go to a different coffee shop. If you know that they're going to be at that, you know, event and you know that you have some certain common friends and you know for a fact that they're going to be there, at least in the short term, at least at the beginning, as soon as you guys break up, avoid these places. Again, you really want to follow the formula, the whole idea of out of sight, out of mind. You want to, as much as possible, eliminate any sort of contact that you might have with that person, whether directly or indirectly, whether online or in person. So if you want to find a different coffee shop in the short term, if you want to avoid maybe hanging out with certain friends in the short term, that's also a very good idea. So you don't have that constant reminder. What happened with you and so-and-so? Why is it no? And he said this and she said that. You don't want to do that. You want to eliminate that as much as possible and focus on other aspects of your life, which I'll get into in a few minutes. But again, you want to make sure that you go no contact and then you don't stalk them on social media or in real life. Number three goes even to a higher extent where you stop talking about them. Stop talking about them with everyone you know. Don't talk about them with every single friend you have. Don't talk about them with all of your family and all of your friends and everybody you know and everybody at work. All right, stop talking about them. Stop talking about the breakup. It's okay if you have that one best friend or maybe your parents or maybe you go to therapy and you have a therapist that you can share. Choose one person. Choose one person that you're going to talk about the breakup with. If you want to, you know, talk things out, if you want to vent, if you want to just get this, you know what I mean, out of your chest. But by no means do you need to communicate or broadcast, about the breakup or about them or about the situation or about how you feel to everyone you know. So many people make that mistake and it just makes it so much more difficult to move on because all of these people, now that they know about what's going on, guess what they're going to be asking you the next time you so what's going on? How you guys still on a breakup? And that brings you right back emotionally, right to where you don't want to be, which is stuck trying to move on with your life. Right? So the more people you're going to talk about, the more people you're going to broadcast it to, the more people know, the more people are going to ask you, the more you're going to consistently just stuck in these, conversations about your ex. Life is too short to be just, mentally stuck at this point. Again, it's okay to feel how you feel, but there's definite ways where you can, either make it easier on you and make it a lot, more, quick to be able to move on from these situations, or you can make it a lot more difficult. But by again, talking to all of your friends, talking with all of your family, talking with everybody you know, maybe everybody you know at work, or maybe even broadcasting it on social media, right? And getting all of these people asking you more about it. And the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, the more difficult it is going to be for you to move on with your life. So if you have to, choose one person and one person alone if you need to. Sometimes you don't even need to do that at all. Number four, and this one is a quick one, but I just want to shatter this old saying that the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. That shit does not work. It never worked, it never will work, and it does not work. All right. If you think that by jumping in bed with this other guy who's been blowing up your phone the entire time that you were in a relationship, or maybe that, another ex before that who is still interested, or maybe that, decided to give a chance to that guy at Starbucks because he was looking at you every time you pass by, and you say to yourself that although you're not really interested in building a relationship with this new person, you think that that will take your mind off of the breakup. If you do decide to get intimate with this person, trust me when I say this, it will only make you feel more empty inside. It will only make you feel more confused and more hurt about your current breakup. Do not try to rush into a physical relationship with a new person in the hopes that it will get your mind off of your existing situation or off of the breakup. Do not do that. Number five, and this is probably the one that I get the most amount of pushback on, but if you want to be able to move on from a breakup as quickly as you possibly can, do not, I repeat, do not try to stay friends with them, with your ex. Do not try to stay friends with their friends, right? If they have friends, or that now you became some kind of friends with as well. So don't try to stay friends with them. Don't try to stay friends with their friends, and don't try to stay friends with their family. This is something that I see a lot. Yeah, well, we became really close and I want to. What do you think these people are going to always talk to you about, especially at these early stages? And again, when I say don't try to stay friends, I often mean, and a lot of these things, right, apply in the same way. At least in the short term, at least now, as you guys are breaking up, as this is fresh, as this, the wound is still open, and you are still thinking about that, and you might be still hurt because of that. You might be still confused, and you're having a difficulty, moving forward. This is where you want to, again, out of sight, out of mind, as much as possible, avoid any sort of interactions with that person, whether online or offline, or even with people that they know or people that that, what I mean, like that are in touch with them. You don't want to go through the process of exchanging messages like, oh, how is she doing? Oh, you know what she said? Oh, you know what he did? Oh, he went on another date with someone else. Did you hear about that? You don't want any of that. You want as much as possible, just like, wake up in the world the next day where they don't exist. And again, not because they're a bad person, not because we're trying to teach them a lesson, not because it could have been amicable, right? But just the fact that you still have that residual emotion, right? You want to avoid any sort of contact. A lot of people think that the only reason to do these things is if the breakup was extremely painful because, they cheated on you, or because they're this horrible person. Not necessarily. They could have been a great guy, and you might have understood and agreed on why you should break up. Right? But if you're watching this video, chances are it's because you still have some kind of residual feelings about the relationship, about the breakup, and you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. All of this and what you're doing is not to try to hurt them or to prove to them anything at all, right? This is not why we're doing this. The only reason we're doing this is, again, because we're trying to protect our heart, protect our mind, and we're trying to allow ourselves to be able to forget and to be able to just move on from this, right? It's just the time that we need in order to heal. So during that time, I would suggest as much as possible to avoid any sort of contact or communication, again, either with them or with people that that know them. So again, that might be their friends, that might be their family. Even though you might have grown, a strong connection, at least in the short term, you want to avoid these people as much as possible. And again, if these people are really close to you, right? If they're your real friends at this point and you would consider them as much your friends as right, they would understand. They would understand that at least for the time being, you need to take a break, that you need to take a step back, that you need to take the time to heal. They would understand. All right, and number 6, and I know this is one that so many people struggle with, unfortunately, but do not, by any means, try to get revenge, right? So many people, and I feel like especially women in these situations feel like they need to, prove something to the guy at this point, especially if they weren't the ones who broke off the relationship, or at least weren't the reason for it, right? If the guy was the reason, whether that was cheating or whether that was another, reason, or whether he decided to end the relationship, a lot of women feel like it is their job to punish them, right? And that either takes the form of trying to ruin their, love life going forward, right? Maybe like calling their next person, or maybe calling the girl, the other girl, right, that they were in contact with while you guys were still in a relationship or whatever, right, trying to ruin that or anything. You never need to do that. You never, beyond the fact that now you are completely focused on that revenge and that negativity that's just like fueling and you know, more of that hatred, more of that pain, and it's just keeping you even more stuck in this situation, right? Beyond the fact that it's never going to really give you anything positive, it's also stopping you. It's literally stopping you. The more time you spend thinking and doing whatever it is that you feel it aligns with that revenge, is time that you are not focusing on yourself. You are not allowing yourself to heal and move forward. The best way, the absolute best way to get even with someone is just to get better, right? Get better with yourself, right? Which introduces us and just allows us to smoothly transition into the 5 things that I believe you should absolutely do at the end of a relationship. So let's talk about that. Number 1 on my list is change your perspective, ladies, right? A lot of people feel like a breakup, an end of a relationship or of any kind is failure. And I really don't share that sentiment whatsoever. Right? I feel like a healthy relationship, any kind of relationship, whether that's a romantic relationship, whether that's a professional relationship, right? A business partnership, a friendship, whatever it is, right? It's about compatibility. It's making sure that 2 people come in together and they have that compatibility factor, that they have similar goals, that they have similar beliefs, that they have similar values, that all of these things align. Right? And a healthy relationship is, again, when 2 people come and have that compatibility factor. The thing about compatibility, however, is that it's not something that you either always have or never have, right? As human beings, we change, we grow, we learn, we adapt, you know what I mean? I don't know about you guys, but I can tell you with 100% confidence that I'm not the same person that I was 2 years ago, let alone 5 or 10 years ago. Right? Completely different. I would be sitting with that other person right now. I would be like, I don't know who you are. We're completely different people. In these past couple of years, I've done a lot of work on myself. I've changed in a lot of ways, right? And I don't even have to do a ton of work. We just, as human beings, we grow, we change, we learn things along the way, right? That's kind of the whole point of the human experience. So as much as it is possible that as we grow as human beings, we might grow in a similar pace, in a similar fashion as our romantic partners, but it's also just as likely, and it is also possible, that we might outgrow their relationship, right? So just because we lose that compatibility factor, it doesn't mean that it's automatically a failure. That's just life. You know what I mean? That's just life. We might, just as likely, we might, again, grow in a similar fashion and kind of continue wanting the same things and having, you know, the similar goals and values and beliefs. We might at some point just grow apart and want different things out of life and want different things out of this experience and want different things out of our relationship, you know, whatever that is, right? So stop thinking that because you're no longer together, like you have wasted this time together. No, you might have been amazing and great for the time that you have been together, but at some point, you outgrew, you or him or both of you outgrew their relationship. And as difficult as it is, because we are creatures of habit and we tend to grow, you know, and connect with someone. And it's very difficult to then let go of that person, especially if they were a huge part of our lives for a very long time. Sometimes it's difficult, but it doesn't change the fact that that's just how life works. Right? And at some point, we are just going to have to find that compatibility elsewhere. And that's completely okay. So stop looking at it. The first thing that you need to change is your perspective. Stop looking at a breakup as a failure, as something that you have failed at or something bad necessarily, right? One door closes could just open up the door to something a lot more amazing for you right now. Because again, you might have changed. You might want different things. You might need different things, right? So being able to close that door and move on with your life could be an amazing opportunity to open another one. Right? Every experience that I had in my life, whether professional or romantic, I feel like, you know, so many times and in the moment, you know, like let's say if you get laid off, if you get fired, right? We feel like, oh, it's the end. We feel like we failed. We feel like we've been betrayed. We feel like every time something like that has happened to me, it's always been, in retrospect, it's always been the biggest blessing because something else came into my life and I was able to create something better with my life. Right? The fact that I was not where I was, you know what I mean? I got used to it, but the fact that I either got laid off or it was a breakup, you know, again, sometimes I didn't realize it, but it was just an opportunity for something else that's more compatible with me, that's more in alignment with who I was at that specific time, came into my life, or at least allowed something like that to come into my life at this point. So again, number one on my list is to change your perspective about an end of a relationship. Number two, remember when I told you about not talking with every single friend that you know or every single family member about the breakup? I still stand by that. However, do not isolate yourself either. Just because you are not talking about your breakup or not sharing all the details about your breakup, which again, some people might bring it up, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to talk about it. You can say, hey, you know what? I would love to spend time with you. I don't really want to talk about that. And you can continue on doing other things. I highly recommend that you do not isolate yourself and instead spend more time with your friends, with your family, with people who are close to you. Right? Again, you are not spending a lot of time with someone who was potentially very, very close to you, right? And you don't want to go from that to absolutely just completely being isolated and alone. You want to replace that time by spending with other people, spending it with other people who you are, really close to, who you can, really do fun activities with and just like enjoy your time with and feel like, someone you trust and it's just someone who's going to be there for you, even if you don't talk about the breakup or whatever, if you know what I mean. Number three, and this is probably the most fun part about a breakup, right? And yes, I did say a fun part about a breakup, and that is to take all of that time that you now have gained, right? All of this time that you would normally go on dates with or spend time with your partner or just watching Netflix, then your Netflix show with them, or all of that time right now, right? Take that time and reinvest it into the things that you love to do. Right? So if you love, playing a sport, spend more time doing that. If you love going to the gym and you weren't able to do that as much because you were with your partner, this is the perfect opportunity to do that. If you love running, if you love traveling, if you love, cooking or baking or whatever it is that you love to do, right? Do more of that. Whatever hobbies or interests you might have had, maybe not spent as much time as you wanted to because their relationship was taking a lot of time, which is fine. But all of that time right now that you have that is now freed up, reinvest it and reuse it, right? And do more of the things that you genuinely love to do. Number four, by the same token, the time that you have now gained is a perfect opportunity to reinvest in yourself. This is the perfect time to level up your life, right? Whatever it is that you wanted to, and we all have things like that throughout our lives. We all know what we want to do more of. We all know, things that we could make better about ourselves, whether that's our fitness levels, whether that's our finances, whether that's our career or our business or, the time that we spend with our kids or, whatever it is, our appearance, whatever it is that we feel like, or anything, right? We can go back to school. This is the great opportunity to use that energy, to use, that maybe in a little bit of that pain that we feel, as well as that time that we have now gained to level up our lives and reinvest in ourselves. So think about all of the things that all of these areas in our lives, in your life, that you feel like you can level up. Make a list and start investing one by one, step by step into those things. Because again, that's a great opportunity to use that instead of allowing that negativity just to sit back and eat us from the inside out. You know what I mean? And just to put us into this very lonely corner. If you want to move on from a relationship as quickly as possible, right? It's a great opportunity to level up your life. And again, this is a great part of that revenge thing that we talked about earlier. Level up your life. The absolute best way to get even at someone is to get better. This is your opportunity to prove, not to anyone else, not to them, not to your friends, not to your family, not to anyone else on social media, but to yourself, right? That you are constantly going to be taking care of yourself. That you can trust yourself to do right by you regardless of the situation. That whatever life throws at you, whether that's that breakup or anything else, that you're always going to land on your feet because you're going to take care of yourself. You're going to do what's right by you. So use this time, use this energy to do right by you. And number five, and this one I see again, a lot of people go wrong with, but do not isolate yourself. So many people say to themselves that now that they have broken up, with someone, especially if there was a difficult breakup and especially if they were with that person for a very, very, very long time, that they need to just completely stop, seeing other people, that they don't want, that they're not ready for a relationship, that they're not ready. Hey, that's okay. you might not be ready for a relationship. And like I said, you might need a little bit of time to either level up your life, just to feel whatever you feel, right? Just to do the things that you love to do and all of these things that we talked about earlier. But that doesn't mean that you want to stop yourself from meeting new people. I feel like the best way to really be able to move on is to create new experiences. And again, I'm not talking about jumping in bed with someone at this point, but I am talking about not stopping ourselves from meeting new people in whatever fashion, not just romantically, but just we need to be open and create opportunities, be intentional about creating opportunities, but whether online as well as offline, to just meet new people. For whatever reason, at the beginning, what I want you to focus on, right? And I talk a lot about that in my Dating 101 course, right? The things that you need to do at the early stages of dating and how and what you need to do in order to prioritize first building genuine friendships with people that allows you to really set boundaries, that allows you to get to know them, that allows you to kind of like protect yourself a little bit in the early stages so you don't get prematurely too invested in a potential eventuality with someone just yet. Right, I talk a lot about that in my course. You can check it out. I'm going to put all the links to my website, datingwhilion.com, in the description of this video. But it's really important to really just be open and even be intentional. Not just be open. Yeah, well, I'm open to it. If somebody can, if somebody, jumps out in the street and says hi, I might, say hi back. But no, be intentional about creating opportunities, things that you do, places that you go to, again, whether online as well as offline, that will allow you to create and make these new connections, meet new people in any capacity, right? They might always just be friends, or you might create certain business partnership, or you might create situations where you would want to date them. You don't have to be ready for a relationship today in order to be ready to just meet people. Again, and the more people that you're going to meet, the more connections that you're going to make, that's what's going to allow you over time to be more ready to be in a relationship. You're not going to get more ready to be in a relationship with someone else after a breakup by sitting at home, sulking, and just waiting. Nothing is going to change. And the more time you're just going to wait, the less you'll feel ready, right? If you want to feel more ready, if you want to be able to move on from them, if you want to be able to just forget them and say, you know what, I wish them the best. They're a part of my past, but now I'm focused on the future. If you want that to happen to you, you have to be right now, the next day, the same day, be open to creating more opportunities, to meeting more people, just creating more connections, to just practice and dating, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time, right? You might not have been very used to dating, and that's completely okay. Dating is a skill. So don't stop yourself. In the meantime, while you're getting ready to be in a relationship, while you're investing in yourself, while you're having fun and you're enjoying your life a little bit, it's a perfect opportunity to sharpen up your tools, right? To just become a little bit better at dating, right? At the whole process of creating these connections, at the whole process of building friendships and setting boundaries and having difficult conversations and, you know what I mean? Like, and being able to voice your needs and all of these things that I talk, again, a lot about in my coaching programs. Links in the description. But this is a great opportunity to take the time to do that. Right? Don't wait to wake up one morning and be like, okay, now I'm ready to be in a relationship. So now I'm going to start, dating people. Now I'm going to start meeting people. No. By that time, you know what I mean? Like, it's too late, right? Life is short. Start as soon as you possibly can. And again, this is not to say that you should rush jumping in bed with someone else or you should rush into another relationship. This is not what I'm saying, so don't hear what I'm not saying here. But it is always a good opportunity throughout the entirety of our lives is to be open, to be someone that looks at life with openness. I'm open to receiving. I'm open to receiving new people into my life, to new friendships, to new business partnerships, to new, right? The whole concept of just like a lot of people, what they do is like they completely shut themselves down and they close themselves off. That's only going to hold you back in any capacity, but especially when it comes to moving on, healing, right, from a past relationship, from a breakup. So hopefully this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments. Tell me which of these things do you struggle with the most? Right, and what do you want to learn about more? Or maybe I'll make a follow-up video discussing the specific things that I see that people still struggle with. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.